Hi, whoever is there. Thank you for popping in. Hi, Eve. How are you, love? Hi, Grammy. Hi, Sting in the Blues. We have a short update on Summer Wells. I, Ramblin' Rome, and babies, I was not prepared to go live. This news release is 2 hours ago from WJHL. Hi, Ashley. I don't even have my bridge in. Hi, Chatty Jen. And darlings, obviously we're outside. Hi, Jennifer. Anna. Jen Sparky. Hi, honey. Hi, I'm out. Prayers, yes, for summer. Darlings, this won't be long. Hi, Mystic Butterfly. And please pardon me that I don't have my dental bridge in. As I said, hi, Poppy. I was totally not prepared for this. And Grammy, chasing is live. Okay, I'm glad someone else knows what's going on. Oh, Ramblin' Rome, there's a search. There's been a search. I did bring the laptop out here. Hi, Nature Lover. And y'all, I apologize. I didn't realize Chasing was live on this. I didn't mean to go live on top of her. So, yes, that bitch over there. And y'all, I'm so sorry. There's going to be traffic noise and all kinds of stuff. But I had to come outside because my husband is inside watching television. Hi, Pam. And I'm like this. So, thank you all for being understanding. And should Chasing or anybody see this now or later, Chasing, Tracy, my apologies. I did not know you were live. I would not have gone live on top of you. Nonetheless, we have an audience here, and we're going to talk just a little bit about this. Ramblin' Rome, 1,617 days, and we still pray today is the day summer is found. Absolutely, my love. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to flip the screen. I beg your pardon. And I know you won't be able to see the article really well, but I've already shared it on our community tab just a few minutes ago. So if you want to, or when you want to, you can go there and get it directly from the link on the community tab. But this is WJHL by Ansley Daniel, posted November 18, 2025 at 5:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then updated November 18, 2025 at 6:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which for me is just a couple of hours ago. And after supper, I was I go to Google and I put in Summer's name. And when this popped up, wowie zowie. Okay, so hi, I'm Susan. Welcome to Lip Lock No More. If you're new, we're glad you're here. And if you're not new, I'm glad you're here as well. And I'm holding my lip in that weird way because I don't have my dental bridge. Okay, let me flip the screen here. I wish I could get you guys a little lower or my laptop a little higher. But you babies know we do the best we can do here. Okay. Y'all, I got to light a cigarette. Search for Summer Wells. Law enforcement followed up on lead in Summer Wells case. Again, Ansley Daniel, and anyone and everyone that has been following the Summer Wells case since she disappeared from her home on the 15th of June of 2021 from 110 Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community near Rogersville, Tennessee, you will know that Ansley Daniel has been very faithful in keeping us posted with every valid update. Eve, you saw it earlier, honey? Ooh. Okay. Greenville, Tennessee, WJHL. More than 4 years after Summer Wells was reported missing from her home in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI, confirmed the case is far from cold. A TBI spokesperson said agents, along with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, continue to investigate what happened to Summer. On Thursday, November 13th, the TBI and detectives were at a location in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road in Greenville, following up on a lead in the case. I want to repeat, that is Van Hill Road, V as in Victor, A-N, Van Hill Road in Greenville, Tennessee. That area is about 9.5 miles from the Wells family home on Ben Hill Road via State Route 347. This person could not release any further details, but said agents continue to follow up on leads as they come in, and the investigation remains active and ongoing. Yes, I'm out. Honey, I just glanced up at the chat. That is the road where on, babies, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was in October, oh my goodness, of 2022. Hi, Tennessee DJ. That Don Wells was arrested on a DUI charge on Van Hill Road, and he spent almost a year in the Hawkins County Jail. Ramblin' Rome, I'm shaking too. Babies, those of you who listen to me regularly, I'm sure you can hear the tremor in my voice. Law enforcement's updates on the case have primarily consisted of releasing age-progressed photos of Summer since her disappearance. There is still, I beg your pardon, there is still an active Amber Alert for Summer, and no one has been arrested or charged in connection with her disappearance. News Channel 11 has also reached out to Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson for additional information. Okay, that is the end of the written article. All right, how do I get back to her story? Y'all, I'm trying to find the actual, well, where did it go? It was here a minute ago. Let me flip the lens back around. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Sleuth Mom. Okay, just hit the refresh, Susan. It will pull it back up. Hit refresh. Okay. I'm having to bend around and look around here. Babies, please bear with me. I'm Yeah. Thank you, Sandy.
Reported missing from her home in the Beach Creek community in Hawkins County. There's no sign of the little girl since, and law enforcement from several agencies have worked countless tips over the years. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniels spoke with TBI, who says the case is far from cold.
Okay, I'm trying to get it to back up to the beginning. Does it drag like we do on... Okay. And can I make it full screen? Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm still learning this laptop, and thank you all for your patience. Okay. Let's see. All right. And I had the volume up, babies, as loud as it will go.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation tells us TBI and FBI has searched an area this past week in the continued search for Summer Wells. It's our breaking news tonight. It's been more than 4 years since Summer Wells was last seen. The then 5-year-old was reported missing from her home in the Beach Creek community in Hawkins County. There's been no sign of the little girl since, and law enforcement from several agencies have worked countless tips over the years. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniels spoke with TBI, who says the case is far from cold. Ansley? Yeah, Sarah, there have been more questions than answers since Summer Wells disappeared from her home in Hawkins County on June 15th of 2021. But today, the TBI confirmed that their agents, along with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, continue to investigate.
I'm going to pause right here so we can see this map. Now, I have also already shared on our community tab from when evil entered this map. It is 9.5 miles from 110 Ben Hill Road. 9.5 miles. It is also the road, hi Half Pint. It is also the road upon which Don Wells was arrested for a DUI. I'm not saying anything other than that. Let's go on.
Investigate what happened to Summer. They say that last week, on November 13th, their agents, along with the detectives, were at a location in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road in Greenville, following up on a lead in the case. That's about 9.5 miles from the Wells family home on Ben Hill Road via State Route 347. Now, we followed up with the TBI, asking if they could provide details about the nature of the tip, if anything differentiated from it, and how long it had been since their agents followed up on a lead like this in the field. The spokesperson couldn't tell us those details, but said that agents follow up on leads as they come in, and the investigation remains active and ongoing. Now, this is the first update outside of law enforcement sharing age-progressed photos and ensuring the case is not cold and that they haven't forgotten about Summer. We also reached out to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, Ronnie Lawson, and have yet to hear back from him or his office. It's important to note, though, that there is still an active Amber Alert for Summer, and no one has been arrested or charged in connection to her disappearance.
Okay, babies. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, let me... Kim Holmes says you don't need to get on the main road to get to Ben Hill to this road. Hi, Sherry. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to get out of this. Hi, Morris. Sherry. Hi, when evil entered. Sweetheart, I shared your community post with the map. Morris, they haven't found anything, but they are searching, or have been searching in the 3500 block of Van Hill Road in Greenville. And Van Hill Road, coincidentally, is where Don Wells was arrested for his DUI. They're following up on a tip, and as pointed out by Ansley Daniel from WJHL, this is the first update we have had from law enforcement on Summer's case, other than her age-progressed photographs. And somehow for me, in my heart, it's the first actual legitimate, perhaps legitimate lead. As we've just learned, law enforcement is unwilling to release any details regarding the tip. But obviously, it was important enough for them to come and search. It was important is not the word I want. It was legitimate enough a tip. Y'all, I'm really emotional, and I'm trying not to be. Beings, as they are searching in such an area, would indicate that they are searching for remains. Which of course is indicative of recovery as opposed to rescue. We all have been praying so hard every day, sunrise, sunset, that God above will guide the hands, the minds of the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, as well as the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the FBI. In Summer's regard, because I was unprepared, I really don't know what else to say. So I'm going to look at your chat a little bit here, light another cigarette. Yes, Morris. Summer needs to be brought home. Thank you, not, honey, I'm sorry your chat passed too quickly. It was not something or other. It's okay, Jen Sparky. Hi, Wendy. Let me get a cigarette going. Hi, Patty. Me too, Tennessee DJ. My heart is. Look, darlings, like y'all, like every single one of you, I pray for Summer every single day. I pray for law enforcement to find her. I pray that if there is anyone responsible for her disappearance, they will be brought to justice. If her mom and dad were not involved in her disappearance, they need closure too. They need to know where she is and what happened to her. Hi, Alabama fan. I've been very harsh, especially on Candace, Summer's mother, in years past. I have my reasons for that, and my opinion of Candace has not changed. But the fact of the matter is none of us know what happened to Summer. Can't imagine she could wander 9.5 miles on her own. But I can't imagine that somebody would do something to her and then leave her there. I can imagine that. Someone known, somebody. Hi, Jenny. And as I have said on my ranch a great number of times in the past, that's right, when Evil entered, as a quick, when Evil entered says, they don't bring in the troops for nothing. I've seen the darkness. I've seen the darkness came in to pray for Summer. Hi, Spike. But what I was going to say, and I've said it in extremely harsh terms in the past with intense anger behind it, standing 10 toes down, as they say. But I want to make that appeal now without the anger. If you or somebody you know has any idea, any leads, any tips of a credible nature in regards to the disappearance and or the whereabouts of Summerman Utah Wells, please, for her and for yourself, turn yourself in and tell law enforcement where the baby's body is. Whoever you are, wherever you are. The Bible says that the truth will set you free. That not only means the truth found within its pages, setting you free from sin, it means also that the truth will set you free from the weight of your guilty conscience. The weight of guilt will come off your shoulders. You can speak the truth out loud to someone where it would actually matter for Summer. You can speak the truth to law enforcement, not to a YouTuber, not a TikToker, not a Facebooker, not an Xer, not a Reddit, not an Instagram. If you have any credible leads or information regarding Summer and what happened to her, please believe me when I tell you the truth will indeed set you free. Let my cigarette go out. Y'all, you know, I made a post regarding Jody Sue Brown on our community tab. You're welcome, Seeing the Darkness. Y'all remember I made that post where she said she knows for a fact that there are witnesses in the Summer Wells case who have lied to law enforcement, and that she knows it for a fact. Thank you, Patty. I'm being told by a few of you, pardon me, after I made the community post, I think it was today. I've had a lot going on today, so but I made a community post saying, hi, Susan Bezio. Isn't it interesting that I read Miller Rickson ever since I made that short calling her out for making that statement, and then Michelle After Dark took note of it as well. Every day I would go over to Jody Sue's channel, where I am not a subscriber, and see if she had maybe gone live, hi Cats Hodgepodgery, to open her nasty mouth and say something to me about calling that out. I don't know, it's like 2 weeks or something, and there's not another live. There's not another live. There's not another live. And then I guess she went live last night. And I'm told by several of you in my comment section that actually she had been live like maybe twice or something and had dirty deleted both lives. So since she's on in the middle of the night when normal people like myself are in bed sleeping and getting their beauty rest, yeah, I'm putting all effort into not using any swear words. I guess she went live for 7 hours and something last night. I haven't watched it. But I found it really interesting that, from what I've been told, that she's been going on some other channels and running her mouth. And I better shut up about Jody Sue Brown or I'll start cussing. checking how long we've been on here. 30 minutes. So, babies, I don't know what else to say. That is the update. Y'all know I don't like wild speculation. So we're not going to go there. What I'm going to ask all of you to do is to continue in your fervent prayers on behalf of Summer Moon Utah Wells. And if you're not a praying person, that's okay. You can send out good vibes. And as someone pointed out in a community post I made several hours ago, in regards to, I don't even want to go there. Let's see, how I'm trying to think how to say this. If any case of any missing person gets any special treatment from the White House, I want special treatment for every single missing child in this nation. Not because the teenager who is missing out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, does not deserve, because indeed he does. But it'll be a cold day in hell before anybody, try not to cuss. Sleuth Mom, pray for me. Since when does the White House give anything for the missing? Anything. So, POTUS, Trump, if you're going to give special attention, special anything, to any missing person's case, especially a child, I want special attention for every single missing child in the United States of America. And I most especially want it for Summer Moon Utah Wells, who disappeared on the 15th of June of 2021 at the age of 5. No signs of abduction, no signs of kidnapping. A 5-year-old tiny wisp of a girl just vanished into the freaking universe. And you got people coming on this platform talking about how they all got up with and I got a special friend that knows that. Fuck you. Fucking YouTubers. I hate you sons of bitches. You're fucking bullshit. I'm sorry. You can't even give Sebastian Rogers the common decency to treat his case any better than you did Summer Wells. As a matter of fact, in March of 2024, I said on this channel, Sebastian Rogers is going to be Summer Wells 2.0. Therefore, we will not be covering it on this channel because I'm not going to be involved in the bullshit. Fucking grifters and scamming motherfuckers. And there are gullible, naive people out there that believe you. Shame on you. Summer Moon Utah Wells disappeared at the age of 5 from her home at 110 Ben Hill Road in the Beech Creek community near Rogersville, Tennessee in Hawkins County. According to Leslie Earhart, the Public Information Officer for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, also known as TBI, that happened sometime in the early afternoon hours. Y'all know what the early afternoon hours are? Noon to 3. Law enforcement itself, and in other general issues, noon till 3 p.m. are the early afternoon hours. Summers calls were not made. 2 calls made, reportedly, to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department shortly before 6:30 in the evening. Where the hell is that 3.5 hours? And what was done with Summer during that 3.5 hours? Whew. If you are new to my channel, I want to give you a sincere apology, because you will not have had the opportunity to have become accustomed to how I can go from 0 to 200 miles an hour just like that when it comes to Summer Wells. However, there is a disclaimer at the very top of the homepage of this channel. This is a commentary, critique, opinion, review channel, and whatever I want to talk about. And I cuss a lot. Hi, Candy. Candy baby, since you're here, hi, flies. To close, because I don't know how much power I've got left on the, like I said, I wasn't prepared to go live. So my battery charge is low. Sandy, love you, honey. Candy, since you're here, baby, we're going to pull the book out. Y'all, I had a comment from Candy Malin the other day under our live stream. Candy Malin bought the book we're reading from so she can read along with us. If you're new to Lip Lock No More, you will not know that it is the tradition here that I don't wish to leave my viewing audience on a dour note, a sour note, a low note, especially when I've gone off the deep end like I just did. So we're going to go in. Hi, Ruby. For right now, I'm going to leave my laptop sitting out here because I don't want to risk dropping it. Let's go in and we'll get our book, read a short piece, and we'll say goodbye for the evening. Yes, Redmilla. Sweetheart, I'm leaving my laptop out there on purpose. I didn't want to risk dropping it coming in. I didn't want you to think, oh my goodness, she's left it out there, okay? Okay. And of course, I have no idea what the signal is like, so. That's right, see in the darkness, no summer, no peace. Okay, this room is a mess. So, Sandy, knowing him, he probably will. I got to make a space for the tripod here. I know, kitties. Mommy's live at night. What's up with that? It's weird, isn't it? Y'all, I felt, hang on. Let me adjust you a little bit more. This lamp, I've got a lampshade in the way, dang nabbit. Hello. It's okay, Rambling Round Baby. I'm glad you were here. Thank you, love. I took a nap in here this afternoon and I fell asleep so hard. And so the day bed is unmade. Trying to find a short story. Ruby, honey, that was hard news. The probable cause affidavit, Ruby. Is that what you're talking about, honey? For Michael Monkey Vaughn, Michael Joseph Vaughn. His mother, Brandy Neal, so affectionately refers to him. 3537 Van Hill Road. That little notification you just heard, that little ding, that was someone giving me the address. Don't anybody go there. Don't go there. And I probably shouldn't have said it out loud. Ruby, it was really hard news, sweetheart. And what I was about to say is Brandy Neal. I pray for Brandy every day. Sandy, honey, I left the laptop outside and maybe we could go live in the morning while Bob's away and I can be in the kitchen and be more organized. Hi, peas and carrots, baby. I'm about to end it. Thank you, Sandy, for understanding. Okay, let me see what I've found here. All the short stories I'm coming across are really long today. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, I have no idea. Well, fiddlesticks. My mama used to say that. You know, I said I'd had quite a day. Part of it was that this morning, thank you, Carrie, for the copyright disclaimer. I had my annual eye exam. No signs of glaucoma. No signs of anything bad in my eyeballs. And my lens implants are doing beautifully. I tried to cheat on the nearsight vision test card. I tried to stretch my arm out there, a long way. She busted me. I also reminded my eye doctor that I'm extremely disappointed that after thousands of dollars and all of that recovery period, I still have to use a magnifying mirror to pull the whiskers out of my chin. He said, that's because we weren't fixing your up-close vision. We can't fix that. We were fixing your far-off vision. So we're still using these. So here we go with a cold reading. If my arms are long enough. From Getting the Most Out of Life, an anthology published by the Reader's Digest in 1946. Wisdom is always wisdom. Now, because this is a cold reading, I don't know if we're going to come across something that today we might consider politically incorrect. So, Morris, do it. Morris 17, baby, you may remember, I think you were around then. You've been out here for a little while, but I don't know how often you're actually listening or watching, you know. Sometimes I think in the bushes. In January, I had one eye done. In February, I had the eye done. I had cataract removal with bionic lens implants. You know what that means? I can see you guys. Yeah. Uh-oh. 15%. Battery's fixing to run out. So, babies, we're not going to get to read. I'm so sorry. We will read tomorrow. We're going to go live tomorrow. We're going to talk. Well, wait a minute. Let me plug you in. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Ta-da! What was I thinking? Evidently, I was not. So, Do the Thing You Fear by Henry C. Link, PhD, Director of the Psychological Service Center, New York City, and author of The Return to Religion. Y'all, I have to have my bridge in to read. I'm praying a cat doesn't knock this phone over. If it does, I'll pick it up when I get back. But I have to have my bridge. I'll be right back. Because for one thing, I like to smile. And when I smile, they tell me it goes ear to ear. And you can't smile when you got 3 teeth that ain't over here. Here we go. It is with some hesitancy that I write on the subject of fears because, unquestionably, many of the fears from which people now suffer are due to the voluminous writings on the subject. I wish, for example, that the term inferiority complex had never been printed, because then millions of people would not even know they had an inferiority complex. There would be one less idea for them to fear. Most fears are actually generated by too much reading. Oh, Candy, honey, I'm sorry if you're there. We're on page 85. I just remembered to tell Candy where we're reading from. Page 85, Candy, if you're there, baby. Most fears are actually generated by too much reading, thinking, and talking. They do not, as a rule, just happen. We nurse them and feed them until, from an inconsequential trifle, they have grown to monstrous proportions. The mother who avidly reads the extensive literature on bringing up children becomes increasingly fearful of how to deal with them, and well she may. The young woman, too fussy about her appearance, soon worries too much over what other people think of her. Groups of people who learnedly discuss the state of the country often turn pessimism into fear. Before me, as I write, is a letter from a young woman beginning. Ever since I was 16 years old, I have been afraid to converse in a strange group. The letter goes on to enumerate other fears: fear of her employer, fear of losing her job, a fear of men, fear of driving a car, fear to make a report at the girls' club, and others to the total of 11. All of them are fears on a common level, experienced by millions of people. In almost every case, the result of these fears is the same: a sort of creeping paralysis, a feeling of misery, of suffocation, of panic, of defeat. A young man told me that he could not sleep. He gave me a long psychological explanation of how this had come about. "Can you help me get rid of this obsession?" he asked. "No," was my reply. "Then what can I do?" he implored. "Run around the block at night until you are ready to drop. What you need is exertion. You have put too much of your physical energies into imagining things. If you run hard enough, you will automatically relax and go to sleep. You have thought yourself into this fear with your mind. You can run yourself out of it with your legs." And he did. A mother not long ago gave this significant summary of her life. "As a young woman, I was troubled with many fears, one of which was fear of insanity. After my marriage, these fears still persisted. However, we soon had a child and ended by having 6. Whenever I started to worry, the baby would cry or the children would quarrel and I would have to straighten them out, or I would suddenly remember that it was time to start dinner or that the ironing had to be done. My fears about myself were being continually interrupted by family duties, and gradually they disappeared. Now I look back on them with amusement." The moral of this episode may not be to have 6 children, but it is true that the smaller families and increased leisure of our time are conducive to the generation of fears. It is equally true that many people who are obsessed by nagging fears might find a new interest in life if they became concerned about other people through participation. Sorry about that. That was my reminder. It's time to walk the dog. You don't like community activities? Then you must remember that every step in the conquest of fear requires at the outset an act of will. Those who have learned to dive remember the process. You got yourself poised, then leaned forward, hesitated, and drew back in fear. Again, you made the attempt and withdrew. With each hesitation, your fears mounted. Finally, in angry disgust with yourself, you plunged in, arms and legs askew, and with a terrible flop. You came up chagrined and embarrassed, the laughter of your friends making you feel still worse. If at this point your fears had prevented you from making further attempts, you might never have learned to dive. Your fears might have become insurmountable. If, however, you persisted and continued to make awkward and painful dives, you finally went in smoothly and came up feeling pleased. You were on the way to becoming an expert. This is the basic psychology of overcoming fear and gaining confidence in every phase of life, and there is no escape from this process. Again and again, we must plunge into the stream of life, adding one conquest to another, overcoming first this fear and then that. As Emerson said, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Actually, our fears are the forces that make us, when dealt with by decisive action, or that break us if dealt by with, I'm sorry, or break us if dealt with by indecision, procrastination, and ratiocination. A young man not long ago asked me to suggest some difficult things for him to do. Your book recommends, he said, such activities as dancing, basketball, or some competitive sport, bridge parties, and games. It says a person should do things even though he dislikes them. I not only disliked but was afraid to do these things. However, I made up my mind to try them. For a while, I had a terrible time. I was miserable, but before long, I lost my fears and actually began to like these activities. In fact, I am enjoying my new life so much that I am in danger of getting soft. I wish you would tell me some things to do which I would find really difficult. This young man had learned the lesson of using his fears as a means to conquest and livelier enjoyment. He was headed for a fuller and more effective life, both socially and intellectually. The first step in overcoming fear is sometimes a very elementary process. I remember a certain young man so overwhelmed with various fears that he could scarcely talk audibly. He worked in a large bank and knew a dozen men in his department, but as he went to his desk in the morning, he greeted no one. We suggested that he begin by saying a hearty, "Good morning, Frank." "Hello, Keating." "Good morning, Mr. Eaton," to the men as he passed. He tried it with such gratifying results that he was encouraged to try more difficult tasks. One conquest leading to another. The more general fears of insanity, of persecution, of strangers, of inferiority, are usually the result of one's failure to conquer enough minor fears by such practice. Sometimes, however, they are due to the fact that a person, for some reason, disappointment in love, the death of a dear relative, financial reverses, loss of a job, withdraws from his accustomed activities. After a catastrophe, especially, one should not only keep up old activities, but bend his will and energies toward beginning some new and preferable, strenuous pursuit. After losing his position, a man of 56, who had been with one company for 30 years, began to mope and withdraw from all contacts with his former friends. Within 6 months, he had become a bundle of fears, both small and great. Finally, he was persuaded to visit a relative living on a farm. Soon, he was drawn into the routine of the establishment, and in 6 months, he was himself again. Although generalizations are dangerous, I venture to say that at the bottom of most fears, both mild and severe, will be found an overactive mind and an underactive body. Hence, I have advised many people in their quest for happiness to use their heads less and their arms and legs more in useful work or play. We generate fears while we sit. We overcome them through action. Fear is nature's warning signal for you to get busy. In its mild and initial stages, fear takes the form of aversion to or criticism of certain activities and people, constituting an alibi by which the individual justifies his continuous inaction. The world is full of malcontents, parlor communists, and social theorists who, because they will not change themselves, talk about changing the entire system. Many of them do not seem to realize that in any social order whatsoever, there would still be misfits. Through conversation, they rationalize their anger with the world instead of becoming enraged with themselves and flying into worthwhile action. The end. Darlings, as always, from any experience, in the words of Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, from any experience, take only the wisdom from it and stop there. Trying to think of a song to sing you out. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, help me stand. I am tired, I am weak, and I am worn through the dark night. Lay me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home. Babies, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I've got to go walk Rags, the rescue dog, before she goes pee-pee in her kennel. Please continue praying, not only for Summer Wells, for all the missing. Sunrise and sunset. Now God bless and keep you all. Get out of my office. I've got things to do. Through the dark, through the night, Lord, lead me on against the fight. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home.